episode of the Limitless Potential Podcast. Where we talk about the 3 main pillars of health. Alright, y'all seen it's 3 now. Alright, it was 4, but now it's 3. So we got financial, mental, and physical. Alright. Them is the main thing, them the main 3. Most people don't practice all 3. Most people are financially good, but their health is not good. Most people are healthy, but their finances is off. So this podcast is to help people bridge them together. I got a special guest here.
Hello.
All right, so introduce yourself.
I am Jasmine Vines, his aunt and nurse practitioner, mother, wife, daughter, all that great stuff.
Yeah, so that's dope too. I'm glad you said that because I really want to dive deep into like how you able to balance and juggle all of that, because that's a lot.
It is a lot.
So you're a wife, a mom, and a nurse practitioner.
Yes.
And okay, so I want to get a good understanding on what are the levels of nursing. What are the levels from lowest to highest?
Okay, so I was every level of nurse. Started off as a licensed practical nurse or LPN. That's an 11-month or like 1 year school program for nursing. And there's limits to what you can do. And the pay, the salary isn't as good as other type of nursing. So they can, and then their areas they can work are limited. Nursing homes, they are expanding their role, but it's still very limited. Then there is a registered nurse, and you could be a registered nurse.
No, look at me.
You could be a registered nurse with a associate's degree in nursing, which is a 2-year degree, or a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree. But they both get the same salary, because a registered nurse should take the same license no matter what years of education.
Okay, so you still, no matter, even if you go to school for 2 years or 4 years, you still get the same pay?
Still get, depending on role. So some nurses with a 4-year degree, that bachelor's degree, can be in administrative roles. So they can be like your director of nursing, and they can kind of go up in a healthcare organization. Versus an associate's degree nurse, they can be a director of nursing too, but they prefer, and studies show, that nurses with more education have better patient outcomes.
Okay. And then what's after, that's a registered nurse?
Yep, after registered nurse, then there is an advanced practice nurse. So that's a nurse who got their bachelor's degree and then did an additional 2 to 3 years of school to get a master's degree. And there's plenty of roles for advanced practice nurses. So those nurses can be nurse educators, they can be nurse practitioners like myself, they can be nurse anesthetists who make the most money. That's the best job, it's the hardest.
So, okay, what was that name?
A nurse anesthetist. So they basically give anesthesia during surgery.
Oh, okay.
So they put the people to sleep.
Okay, and they make
the big bucks.
Okay.
Their schooling is a lot harder.
So
more intense. Very intense schooling.
Then what's after? Is there anything after that?
So after that, the roles are the same. Like you can still be that nurse practitioner or nurse educator, but there is a doctorate of nursing a nurse can get, and that makes her eligible to move up like in organizational administrative roles, also in education, or just to have it. And then nurses can also get a PhD. So a doctorate of nursing practice is a practicing doctorate. So that's focused more on research within the field of nursing, whereas a PhD is more focused on academia and book research.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I like it too because that's why I really wanted you on here, because you inclined a lot. Like you really inclined a lot. Like starting from the ground up. And that like, it's one thing to, study and then jump to one spot, but to actually go through the process of hitting each level is like something that, no book can teach, like your experience. Like,
absolutely.
So what level, what's like your end goal? What does your end goal look like for you?
So I currently, I hold a master's degree in nursing, and I'm a licensed adult geriatric nurse practitioner. I'm right now, I'm in school getting my doctorate. So a doctorate of practicing nursing, so a lot of practice-based research versus that academic-based research. Maybe one day become a professor, assist in educational theory for nurses, all that fun stuff.
So, I mean, we did talk off the camera a little bit about a book. So, what's up with the book?
Maybe a book one day about healthcare, health and wellness.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gaps in healthcare for Black people, a lot of health disparities. So I would love to like educate people on healthcare, because if we don't take care of ourselves, they're not gonna do it for us, and they haven't.
That's powerful. So if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is gonna do it. And I tell people all the time, what's really killing us, Black people, is what we eat.
Absolutely.
It's like we have the power to really change our trajectory and our health in this country, and just period, if we change the way we eat, just off of that one thing. So I know I don't want to jump around, but okay. So what about like mental health?
Mental health is so important, and counseling, therapy. Even if you don't think you have issues, it's so important to get that stuff out, because studies show that issues with your mental health can have physical changes in your body. It increases stress hormones, cortisol levels, blood sugar, blood pressure. So without, it's kind of like a pyramid of care. And at the bottom is our basic needs. And mental health is a basic need. You can't be happy until you meet those basic needs.
I like that. So it's not only that you need to have a healthy body, but you need to have a healthy mind.
Absolutely.
So, and then, cause I learned that too a while ago, that even if you eat healthy, if your mental state is very negative or you're very stressed out, you can cause those stress hormones and high blood pressure like that. So that's deep.
Absolutely. And outlook is very important when you are dealing with illness. You can look at studies and they show people with a negative outlook dealing with cancer, that cancer is worse, and it increases their rate of mortality or death from that cancer. Whereas you can have somebody with a positive outlook, and maybe they may have terminal cancer, they tend to live a little bit longer with that positive outlook. So that's a big part. Mental health and well-being is a big part of everything.
And I honestly, like, the mental is more powerful than the physical, really. Because if you feel bad, that's gonna affect everything else around you on the outside. But if you feel good, that's gonna affect everything else around you on the outside too. That brings me back to my fiance's grandfather. He had cancer. We've been together. Let me turn this off. Oh, wow, my phone here. My fiance's grandfather. We've been together for almost 10 years, and I think he had cancer the whole time, like we was together. And like he inspired me so much, and I'm glad I got to actually really express to him how much he impacted my life, even though he's not my relative, but just being around him. But his will to live was just crazy.
Absolutely.
Like, he had bone cancer. I think he had some other cancer too, but I know he had bone cancer. And I remember seeing a picture of my fiance's dad, sending a picture of him. He built a deck outside. He could barely like walk, but he actually was like outside in the garden and stuff like that, cutting the grass. They used to have to go over there like, no, sit down. He always up moving and stuff like that. But his will, his mentality to like keep living was definitely
key.
Motivation for sure.
That's key. It's key.
That's dope. Okay, so take me back to the beginning. Take me back to. Okay, let's go way back. Let's go way back. Yeah, let's go way back. So bring me back to like high school. Like how was your high school experience? Let's go back to high school.
Okay, well, we throwing it all the way back.
Yeah,
that was a while ago. That was 18 years ago.
18 years ago?
Yes.
Oh, that ain't that long.
Back to the early 2000s. It was great. I was a fun cheerleader, carefree kid. And I met a boy, and he was the first boy I ever loved. And yes, and got pregnant by him at 16. And he ended up not being the right boy for me or anyone else, but definitely not me.
So you was a cheerleader and stuff like that. So what grade were you in when you first got
When I got pregnant, I found out I was pregnant the summer before senior year of high school. And it was devastating because, senior year is supposed to be the best year. It was my year, I was involved in a bunch of activities. I was going to have fun and kick it and got caught up.
So what high school did you go to?
I went to East High School.
Oh, you went to East? Okay.
Class of 04.
Yeah, I went to book. So you, okay, I'm tripping. I graduated in 14. I don't know why anytime I hear somebody graduate in under 2010, I feel like I went to school with them. I don't know why.
Different times. Maybe you might have been in kindergarten when I was there.
Was I? Yeah, I probably was somewhere like elementary school.
Preschool.
Yeah, probably. But so let's go to after high school. Oh, how did your parents take the pregnancy?
So, I was a smart girl. Very, social, popular, smart, and my parents were very proud of me because they thought I was going to do great things. So they weren't very happy when they found out I was pregnant. They didn't have very nice things to say to me when they found out I was pregnant. Oh yes. I recall quotes, and I thought you were the one that was going to be something. Is what I heard. So
they got to eat them words though, because you definitely.
Yes, and that's that motivated me to make sure I wasn't going to prove anybody right who talked about me, because no one had anything good to say about me when I got pregnant, because I thought she was the smart one. I thought you were going to do this. It was very few. My grandmother and my cousin Jocelyn and my aunts and other aunts were extremely supportive, and I really wouldn't have gotten through it. And I live with an aunt from when I found out I was pregnant, because I was living with your grandpa when I got pregnant, and I couldn't do that. Bring the baby home to him. So I moved in with my aunt, and she helped me so much. I finished high school early, so I did my senior year in about a month because I had taken advanced classes all through high school. I took high school classes in middle school. So, senior year was easy. So I just, worked, took care of the baby when she came by myself, because her dad was, in the wind, as, most boys when you pick them when you're 17 are. Yes, so my aunt really helped me though. And then with her, I finished high school early. I went to LPN school at 17, finished that by 18. So I was a working nurse before my 19th birthday. Yes.
So I don't want y'all to skip over that, because she ran into a situation, you know what I mean? Not no any regrets, because it's life, and life goes on. You gotta roll the punches. But even though she was getting heat from family, even close people, she didn't let that knock her down, or she didn't let that keep her. She didn't let that anchor her down. You know what I mean? She took that like, okay, watch.
Exactly. Watch. And that was my motivation for and I can count probably on two hands people who were supposed to be supportive to me, talking down to me. It was very few who actually protected me and took care of me. And that was, I'd say, in my years of life, that was the most challenging time, being a single teen mom without having parental support. Was the hardest time in my life. But I thank God for it, because it made me who I am, and it made me strong, because that's something, you go through something really hard when you're very young. It's like, what else can you do to me? What else can happen?
Yeah, you almost bulletproof.
Exactly, right. Okay, everything else in life, these stumbling blocks. Come on, I came from nothing. I came from the dirt.
Right.
I lived in the projects. I was on welfare.
Right.
While trying to go to school with a baby at 18. And I knew, even living in those projects, I lived in some apartments on Copley Road, people shooting, breaking in, all that stuff. I knew that this is temporary. And
that's deep.
Really, so it really, I thank God for that, because it really made me stronger. And everybody goes through something, but when you're going through it, you don't realize it's a blessing actually. Having that baby young, God giving her to me was a blessing. God making her father not in her life was a blessing, because he wasn't ready to be the father she needed. So it would have just been a very toxic situation.
Right.
So at the time when I was going through it, it was hard. I didn't realize it. But looking back, you know, looking at the success, I'm happy he left.
Yeah.
I'm happy God gave it to me.
Right.
And I think I'm probably in a better place today than I would have had I not had her. I probably would have made a lot more mistakes because once I had her, I knew I can't live for Jasmine. I can't go out and have fun like everybody else. You know, I can't get into trouble. I can't date unsavory people anymore. I can't do anything, you know, that could hurt this little girl who didn't ask to be here.
Right.
You know, it's not her fault that her mama wasn't being responsible. You know, so I had to get it together.
I love that. That's so powerful on both spectrums too, because that's a powerful message that can speak to young women who get into, you know, find themselves in a situation like that where they have a baby young and then the male is not ready to play that role, or at least even if it's like a one-time thing, it was an accident and y'all really don't want to be together, but y'all can come together cordially, that's fine too. But for someone to not be there at all is like, you know.
Yeah, we couldn't even find him for years. We didn't. Right.
Get you out of here.
Exactly, right. Found my baby daddy on Facebook.
Right.
Okay. When she it was that serious. He's deadbeat with a capital D. But anyways. But that's okay, because again, like I said, it was a blessing. Because he wasn't living the life that I wanted her to be exposed to. And you know, my daughter knows no struggle. She knows no agitation in the home or anything like that, you know, because God took that person out of my life. Because if that person would have stayed in my life,
right,
I'd probably be somewhere with a bunch of babies looking crazy. Still in that project apartment on Compton Road.
It's crazy too how some people are clinging on to relationships that they really need to let go. That they're not gonna blossom or be able to reach their full potential with someone that's so negative. And they can change, but if they're not ready, rarely do that. And if they're not ready, you need to do
let
the
it
best
go.
for you.
Absolutely. And maybe one day they may change if you want that person back, but why sit in a bad situation? Why sit in a dead situation when we need to live? We need life and life around us. Positive people. You don't want these people that are just kind of dead on the inside and have no morals or values, don't care about themselves, because all they do is bring you down.
Right.
And you know why? Life is too short.
Yeah, you gotta fly.
Absolutely.
You gotta fly. You don't want no anchors. You don't want no weight vests on you. No.
Absolutely.
So, and then two, if you're holding on to something that's negative, you might be not putting yourself in a position to find someone that's actually better for you. And that's what you did. So that's nice. So, how did y'all meet? How did you meet your husband?
At work. So I was an LPN and he's a physical therapist. He actually now has his doctorate in physical therapy.
Okay.
So I'm here to a doctor.
Yeah.
But, right, exactly.
Big flex.
Right, exactly. And I wouldn't be had I stayed in that bad situation. Because I think we met, my daughter was about 18 months old, we met at work. And he was so different. And that's another thing, he was different. You know, I was very young, I was 19, he was 29. But I was more mature.
Yeah.
You know, I had a nursing license. Exactly. You know, car notes, apartment rent. You know, I had bills. You know, I wasn't having fun. So he was the man for me. And he was so different. He was so proper and so well put together.
He is.
Yes, it's very, you know, straight up dude. And, you know, everybody's like, you dating him? You know, because the hood dudes, that's what I used to like, okay? You know, back then, the jerseys, the baggy jeans, the white t-shirts, you know, the hood stuff, listen to the hood music.
Right.
And, you know, but what I realized was, if you keep doing the same thing you always did, you're going to get the same results. If I kept dating that same kind of person, I was going to end up with the same kind of person who was getting on my nerves. So I had to think out the box to find my happiness. And, you know, I had to do something different to get something different. You know, because different actions, like with exercise, health and wellness, different actions give different results. And, you know, seeking someone different out was the best thing, you know, for me. That, you know, it didn't work. We're very similar now, but we were completely, I mean, I had the long, blonde, streak wrap with the long, colorful nails. You know, it looked like he got some hood girl with the, you know, Nietzsche or Echo on. You know. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
we grow.
He probably, and then that probably helped. I don't know. I mean, I don't know him from when he was younger. But was he like quiet?
Very, yes. Mm-hmm.
So were you able to like bring him on the show a little bit or no?
No, but he quieted me down.
Oh, see, okay, so it helps.
Yeah, he calmed me down a little bit.
Yep, that's dope, that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all been together for how long?
It has been 16 and a half years. Well, we've been married 6 and a half years. In November, we would have been together 17 years.
17 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Congratulations on finding somebody for you and
Absolutely.
someone who's going to accept your kid too.
He did. I mean,
So that's dope.
day one, you know, we met, she was about 18 months old. Her second birthday, he paid for it. He paid for her party. He, you know, started to buy our first date, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to let anybody meet my daughter.
Yeah.
But our first date, he brought her a toy, because I was potty trainer. So he listened, you know, and then, you know, because a lot of people don't listen and, you know, aren't thoughtful. He was thoughtful and brought, you know, a toy for her. You know, and I gave it to her. She didn't need him. You know, it took a couple months or so.
You being smart.
Yeah, because, you know, you can't be dating different people and letting your kids meet everybody. Because then they don't know, you know, uncle, daddy, cousin, uncle, brother, friend, you know, it's too much. We want to be good examples for our kids. But it was perfect. He was what I needed. And, you know, I knew that being an LPN wasn't for me. And he was what I needed. So he supported me and helped me, like, continue on with my education to get to where I am today. You know, he believed in me and he supported me, which is, you know, a really good quality.
So when did y'all have y'all first kid? So this is okay. So this is out of college. Y'all both are getting into your careers. So how was that? Okay, so I want to go. When did y'all have your first kid together?
Okay, so we weren't together very long before I got pregnant with Alana. But by the time she was born, we were married. But we weren't together very long, maybe 7 months or so before we got married.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So how with both of you having such like real time-consuming careers, how are you guys able to balance that in your relationship and experience?
So it's hard. It's very challenging, and like we were only married for maybe about a year or two before I went back to school full time too, and worked and kids. So it was very chaotic, but I was very blessed to have good family, good mother-in-law, good aunts, cousins, you know, just everybody. My village, yes, okay. My village. Since day one, my village has surrounded me and supported me, and I couldn't do anything without my village. So, you know, I had free babysitting 24/7. Anybody, you know, exactly. Never had to worry about it.
Yeah, lean on your people.
People you can trust, of course.
Yeah,
you know.
People you can trust. Yeah.
And that's what I did, you know, because my family is great. So everybody just kind of supported me through school, through parenting, you know, childcare, things like that. So it made things a lot easier for me to do the things that I needed to do because I had so much support.
Okay, so what about like relationship wise? You guys still able to like go on dates or go on trips and stuff like that, even though you both were really busy?
Yeah, absolutely, because you gotta make time for your relationship.
So how do you make time for a relationship? 'Cause I know that affects your mental, like being in a relationship. What advice would you have for a young or any two people that's in a relationship that are both busy? What tips do you have for them to be able to do it?
So I got a funny one, and I hate to share it with everyone because it's kind of weird. It's kind of TMI, I mean it's not awkward, okay? Yeah. We actually take a shower together every night, and that's our time. And it's not anything weird, but that's our time to talk. That's our time to sit because I work 10 hours a day. He works 10 to 12 hours a day, and you know. You're tired. When you get home from work, you don't want to be. We work all day talking to people. We don't want to talk all night too.
Right.
But it's our time. You know, we set out. Okay, and I'll wait for him, or he'll wait for me, and we, you know, 9 o'clock. Okay, we'll meet, take a shower, and it's not anything funny. But this is our way to communicate, unwind, talk about our days, talk about childcare, just what's going on, and you know.
I love that though.
You know, and it's literally something we've been doing. I mean, gosh, I don't know how we started. Probably like. You know when you have little kids and you can't take a shower, you gotta hurry up, you know, things like that. Yeah. And it just kind of became a routine, and it's our routine, and it kind of works for us. I mean, some couples talk in the morning, some talk at dinner, but if you're coming home 6, 7 o'clock at night, you know, number one, you shouldn't be eating that late.
Right,
Number two,
right.
you know, so we ain't gonna talk at the table, and you
Right.
know, I want to unwind, he wants to unwind. We both got things that we gotta do, cause you know, so that's our way to come together, and then you know, maybe we'll talk after our shower, you know, just catching up still, and then he goes his way and I go my way, and it's okay. We don't have to sit up under each other all day.
Right.
We're both, and you know, some people feel like in relationships they have to be together, they have to be into the same things, but you're two different people.
Right.
And then people try too hard to be into the same things instead of just accepting each other for who they are. You know, because I think that the hardest thing, the biggest challenge about being married was me wanting him to fit into a certain mold, or maybe vice versa even. And I prayed, my prayer was for me to love him the way he wants to be loved and to accept him for who he is. Because you can't change anybody. You can change you can barely change you, but you definitely can't change anybody else.
That's a gem. I hope y'all listen. So instead of trying to change someone, especially if you know if that someone is really good for you, instead of trying to actually change them, just accept them for who they are. You know, still set the boundaries, stuff like that, but accept them for who they are, and you know, try to come together and be good to each other.
Absolutely.
But I love that shower thing, and I feel like it's a way for y'all to be intimate with each other. You know what I mean? And that's nice. So I feel a good connection and a good intimacy when I shower with my fiance. Like we started that probably like in college, cause in our dorm we would shower, but that's actually I feel like it's a good way for you to become intimate with your partner, and y'all sharing, especially y'all being close to each other.
Absolutely.
And then y'all just, even if y'all not talking, y'all just in there sharing each other's space while doing something where you like releasing all your stress from the day, just taking a shower, just releasing. And it's you know, it can be therapeutic mentally too.
Absolutely.
So I like that. So any other tips? That was a good one.
I think also a big one is when people are dating. Make sure you guys are into the same stuff, kind of, you know what I mean? Common goals and interests. Because some people, you know, we date people who we don't have anything in common with. He may be the cutest though. He may be real cute, popular, got money, whatever. So it seems like a good idea to date him, right? Because on paper, he is, you know, perfect 10. Y'all talking, you just sitting there, ain't got nothing to talk about, nothing. You know, maybe he wants to be an astronaut and you ain't about that life.
Right.
So you gotta make sure at least those things, you gotta have something common. Because at the end of the day, you know, 10 years, 20 years down the line, he may not be as cute. He may end up broke, you know,
right.
You know, whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you gotta have still those common things, because we gotta work together towards a common goal. And if you guys can work together and be a team, really, that's the biggest thing. No matter how different you are, as long as our goal is to make sure, you know, our family is well, or, you know, our finances are well. Not he gambling and you saving money.
Yeah, so
you know?
it's a conflict.
Exactly.
And then I like that too, because you're trying to find something that, you know, you're both interested in that's further or deeper than just physical attraction.
Absolutely.
And, you know, physical, you know, touch and stuff like that. So, y'all, she's the legend at Fortis. My little sister, she was at Fortis for a little minute, and I was walking around her school, and then I just hit the corner, and I seen her picture. I'm like, what? And I seen Hall of Fame. I said, Hall of Fame? Oh! That gave me so much enjoyment. I was so happy to see your face on the Hall of Fame. It made me so proud and happy to just see you like, damn, she's in the Hall of Fame. If I was going to that school and I seen that, I would have just locked in. I'm like, I have to make on this wall next to you. So how did you get on? How did you get on the Hall of Fame, or get in the Hall of Fame at your school? How did you do that?
Yeah, so I really don't know who selected that or how that was picked. I guess they must have, I stayed in communication with some of the instructors. I even taught at Fortis for a little bit. And they followed my journey from being an LPN to, you know, becoming a nurse practitioner. And that was when I received that award, was once I finished my nurse practitioner education. And I did really good. When I was at Fortis, my GPA was 4.0. Well, every college I've been to, my GPA has been a 4.0. Okay, right? But yeah, so I did really good there. I taught there, you know, so they were very familiar with me. And you know, not too many people go from being an associate's degree nurse or LPN to being a nurse practitioner. It happens, I work with some, but it's not the norm, you know. It's almost every nurse's goal is to say, one day I want to be a nurse practitioner. Yeah. But the actual 7 years of going through school, you know, full time, all that stuff, is really hard. So not too many people get there. So I think that might be where that came from.
That's dope too, because I train a lot of nurses. And they, you know, I trained some that just started like a couple months ago. And, you know, they say, you know, I asked them, what's the high, because I like to strive for the best, the big. I want to know what's the biggest or best position in your field. And they all say, you know, they different opinions, stuff like that, but the nurse practitioner always come up. And it's dope for me to experience what they explain, you know, from their perspective, being a newbie, versus you like the OG, like
I know,
I'm a nurse practitioner.
17 years in the game.
I'm a nurse practitioner. So that is dope. And you're not only stopping there, you want to take it a step further. So, and then after that, you're gonna take it a step further. So that's dope. And actually, like, start teaching and stuff like that. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So we have somebody. We have somebody that was in the Hall of Fame. On the podcast. I think we made it, John. We made it. We got somebody on the Hall of Fame. I wanted to talk about that. I've been thinking about that this whole time. Okay, how am I gonna fit this in?
That's so funny.
That's so, it was only a couple faces up there.
Really? See, I've never even been in Fortis since that happened. Yeah, to see. I do have my little plaque at home now.
It was only a couple faces up there, so you're not getting that award without doing something special and building good relationships.
Absolutely.
So if you just went to school, they probably you wouldn't have been top of mind. But you build the relationships, you put in the work on the back end, and now you go Hall of Fame.
I'm famous.
Right, now you famous. That's dope. That's dope. So now let's talk about like school. You said it was at Fortis. What did you do? Where did you go after Fortis?
So after Fortis, I got my associate's degree from Fortis. I went to Indiana Wesleyan online for my bachelor's degree. Then I went to Walden online for my master's degree and got the nurse practitioner. And now I'm doing some online classes at Capella for a doctorate.
Okay. What's Capella? I heard of all the other ones. What's Capella?
Another online school.
Okay. Is it like a station somewhere or just online?
I think they're strictly online school. The other two schools were actually like physical schools. Yeah. I think they're just online.
Just online. Okay. So how long is it gonna take you to get your doctorate?
Well, that's an interesting question. The goal is maybe by next January. Not January 23, but 24 is the goal.
Okay. So what's stopping you from, or what's some challenges that can come in between you and reaching your goal in January?
Financing. I gotta structure my classes to where I get reimbursement from my job. So a lot of people, nurses, if you want to go continue education, find out that your job gives employee reimbursement or tuition reimbursement. So that, and I'm not gonna kill myself. It's not like that nurse practitioner was like a whole career change. This is just some extra letters added to my name. So I'm gonna take my time. I'll do what I can. No rush.
That's gonna be nice though.
Exactly, right?
You be able to go to all the,
right.
This is all I do. If I became a doctor and I come to any family event, anytime somebody say my name, Andre, I'm gonna be like,
right, it's Dr. You.
Dr. Sandra, yeah.
Exactly, right.
Oh, I'm a doctor. You want this? I'm a doctor. I earned this. I put in the money,
exactly,
the time, and the effort. And school is not easy.
No, and it's not fun.
It's not fun. I don't know if I told you, but I dropped off. I remember I was sitting in class. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I was sitting in class after you. I was sitting in class one day. I was just looking like, why am I here? Because I was going to college really for basketball. Because I love basketball so much. I know I want to. And my goal was to get overseas. So I was going, playing basketball in college, stuff like that. And once my mom passed and I stopped playing basketball, I was just like, and then my career or my major, I really wasn't. It wasn't like it was gonna make that much money. So I'm like,
cause school, you can make, you know, education is great, but school isn't for everybody.
Right.
And you're doing well, and you didn't have to do that. Right. You know, we emphasize school, but we don't look at the individual. Cause you can there are lots of trades where there's some people in certain trades making more money than me. I mean, there's certain people who didn't go to college who makes lots more money than me. You know, but we don't look at the trades too. Education is great, but trades are just as good, especially if you know this person isn't a school person. I mean, I do stress school education is, nobody can take it from you. When the chips fall, you got your degrees to lean on. Right. But it's not for everybody, and there's ways for everybody to make a good life. You just gotta find whatever their niche is.
Right. And
you found your talent. You know, people just need to find their talent so they can, you know, or their gift, their natural gift, to give it to the world. You got your gift and you're giving it and you're sharing it, and you can make money with your gift.
Yeah, you make money.
You know, some people are builders, carpenters, plumbers. I mean, a plumber, you call a plumber, they're gonna charge you $400 to come at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't go nowhere and get $400 for like an hour of work.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So everything is different.
It's different.
But we all end up, you know, as long as people are happy. So I don't want to stress like education is the most important thing, because it's not. Because if you can make it, whatever you can do to make a good living, and you can meet your bare minimum, whatever that is, hey, that's all that matters.
Right. And that's dope too. So did you ever have a financial goal in your head, like as a growing up?
I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be a basketball player's wife or something.
Oh, very so okay. so when you started school, was there like a number that you wanted to hit when you first started?
So when I first started, I was a kid. I was 17. So I just wanted a job. I wanted to be able to pay some bills and feed my daughter. But what got me through my nurse practitioner degree wasn't necessarily, okay, this is so immature. I was a little bit younger. I was thinking of all the great things I could buy. Louis Vuittons, Gucci bags. Yeah. So every test was a Gucci bag. You know, one step closer to a Gucci or one step closer to, and you know, a material thing. Yeah. And now I know that's not important. You know, material things, whatever. We all grow, right? But it was what motivated me to get me through school. A vacation. Okay, once I finish school, I'm gonna be able to go on X, Y, or Z vacation, or I'm gonna be able to do something that I couldn't do before. So, but not necessarily a number. I mean, being a billionaire is my number, but you know, will I ever get there? No matter how many degrees, probably not.
Yeah, so that's dope too, because like you use something, you focus on something, and it helps get you to this success that you are now. So that's dope. Me, I kind of do the same thing. Like mine is the material stuff, because it's. We grew up in the hood.
Exactly, so right? And that's why I wanted Gucci.
Yeah, we want nice things, because
exactly.
See, people with nice things. I want nice things, nice cars, and I want to do a lot of nice stuff, and it's gonna cost money. And on the flip side, I want to do a lot of philanthropy stuff too. But I want to be regulated. I want to do it how. Okay, I want this to be done. Boom, boom. I want the money go to here. I don't want to have to look from the outside, what y'all doing with my money? I want to have my own stuff going on. I want to partner with LeBron James with, you know how he's doing a lot of like housing and stuff like that. So I want to do stuff like that. But my number is huge. My number is humongous.
What, billion? Right. That'd be my number too, you know.
My number is, I want my net worth to be, no, I don't want my net worth. My net worth is going to be $1 billion. So I got it mapped. It was crazy. I said this on another podcast too. I was talking to my dad on the phone. 2019, I think it was 2019 or 2020. No, 2021. Talking to my dad, I'm like, Dad, I want to be worth $1 billion. He was like, yeah. I said, no, I want to be worth $1 billion. I said, Dad, listen to me. I am going to be worth $1 billion. He stopped, got silent for a second. He was like, man, how? It's like, how? I'm like, look, I'm gonna do this. Boom, 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 boom. I had it written down. I even got it written on one of the boards in there, but like my plan. So yeah, so I shoot for the moon.
Exactly, and if you land at the stars, you still are up, right? I tell my kids that all the time. Speaking of shoot for the moon, I literally tell my kids that all the time. I tell them, I give them really lofty goals, because then I'm like, okay, in my head, if I tell them that their GPA expectation is a 4.0, nothing less, they go at least get a 3.8.
least.
You know, I'm just gonna brag, but my baby just got a 4.4. So
which one?
Alana, 4.4 in high school. Samara, you know, she was valedictorian. She graduated with I think like a 4.5 or so.
Y'all, she got some genius kids, like
absolutely.
I remember I was running because I lived downtown. I was running. And she told me I was running, and then I was sitting. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah. She's like, hey. I'm like, what's up? I'm like, what you doing? She was like, I'm going to class. I'm like, class? You still in high school? She's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, dang. She got some genius kids.
Yeah, she got her associate's. She graduated from high school this past May with her associate's degree. Valedictorian. She was prom queen too. You know, so not only
y'all are decorated. They decorated.
Exactly.
Y'all are decorated. That is dope. Damn.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Okay, so what else you got?
So she was a senior class officer when she graduated. Yeah, she was prom queen, valedictorian. So much. She probably did something else. And now she's in children's ministry at church. She is an 18-year-old junior in college. She will be taking, so her goal is to be a lawyer. So she will be taking like maybe a semester off to study for the LSAT after this spring, after she finishes up the spring semester. She'll take a semester off and hopefully end up in law school by January of 24. So she could be a lawyer. Yeah, so she'll be a lawyer, or she could be, Lord willing, by the time she's like 23. I know, right?
23-year-old lawyer. You know how much experience she's gonna have, especially if she throws herself into the water and you know get the jitters out. You know, she is that seems like a tough career. So she's gonna probably get knocked down a little bit. She's a rookie, but once she get her groove going, once she hit like 30, if she's still a baby, she's gonna be like a seasoned vet, and she probably gonna be
absolutely right.
But think about this, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna have a lawyer all day.
Exactly.
I talk to my lawyer.
Right, that's what I said too. I can't wait. I'm like, girl, you need to hurry up so I can tell these people talk to my lawyer.
So what's your youngest daughter, what does she want?
She wants to be a nurse anesthetist, which is that advanced practice nurse who assists with anesthesia. So yes, they'll both take care of me one day.
Yeah, so was money her motivation?
No.
Or she just wanted to
She
seen you in that mind.
I think so, yeah, because at first she wanted to be a orthopedic surgeon. She don't like school. I mean, who likes school? I don't like school, but she don't, that's a lot of school. That's like 12 years plus of school after, high school. Yeah, so this is the way that she can still be in the medical field, be in the operating room, but she doesn't have to go to school as much, as long. I think that's a master's degree, so it's not as bad. But the goal, my kids watch me, because they, I've been going to school since the first one was born. So they saw me. Have been an example to them, not just telling them what to do, but I showed them what to do. I've been very mindful of what I let my children see me do, what characteristics I have. I mean, for years I didn't even cuss in front of them. I just started cussing a couple years ago, and I don't cuss that much, but because I wanted them to, because I can't just tell you what to do. I gotta live the way. Yes, I gotta show you how to be a good person. I let them see me help people. I let them see me, when I took them to church. I'm gonna teach you the Lord. I'm gonna teach you these things so they're in you. Versus you having to learn them. Like I had to learn them, but I'm trying to put them in them so they'll just exude it. And it's just, like they know that there is nothing like getting a C. It does not exist in my home. A C has never walked through the doors in my house. And it's not that, and not because, not saying it's not okay to get C's, because you know your children, you know your child. That's your child's best. If that's their best, then you have to accept that. But my kids showed me when they were little what their best was. So if you show me, exactly, that is the standard. They come on, I got straight A's, okay, good. Or I got an A on my assignment, okay, what was the percentage? Because I know you're smart. So, and that's
92 is the bad.
Exactly, right? So you just have to, know your child and cultivate and tell them how wonderful they are and how amazing they are and all this great stuff when they're little. Then nobody else can tell them that. No man, no woman, because they just build their self-esteem up so well that nobody can knock them down. and they know who they are. And I remember you said this at your mother's funeral, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing. You said, my mother showed me love, so I don't need anybody externally to show me love, because she showed me love. And that's where, that made me cry. That was really one of the most beautiful, and to this day I remember you verbatim, because I thought it was one of the most beautiful things I ever heard somebody say. And you know, and your mom was amazing, and that's my goal as a mother, to show my kids love. So no matter, you know, who that pretty thing is, or what that bottle is, or what that smoky is, they don't need anything, any other validation, because they got it here, because I gave it to them.
Right.
You know?
And that's powerful. That's powerful, because it seems like you are building them at the core. So just like the outside stuff really doesn't matter. You're building their core.
Exactly.
And that's dope. And that's one thing that I'm going to appreciate too, and I'm being mindful too of what my daughters see me do now. Like working out and eating healthy,
exactly,
cleaning up, just like
so it's
certain things.
It's in them.
Yeah, so it's gonna be just a habit. You know what I'm saying? But that's dope too. But just like you giving them so much love and guidance, where they don't even need to look over here and over there. And you can see a lot of problems. I know you've seen this too, like probably like your peers and stuff like that, because it's every generation. But the ones who don't have love, they seeking it instead of me. Okay, boom. Now I can focus on becoming the best version of myself, because I don't have to go over here and over here.
Exactly. And they don't, like my girls, they don't have boyfriends, and they're okay with that. They're not validated by this external, you know, I need male attention stuff. I mean, you know, they're like, they chilling. They know the oldest one's smart, she's 18. She knows that she just doing too much. She don't have time for male attention, and she don't really care. The younger one, like, she just really don't care. You know, she's like, I don't need no boyfriend. I don't have time for it right now. I can't focus on that. They too much of my energy. And I'm so happy that they're whole within themselves, to where any man that come into their life, they're gonna have to step their game up, because they're whole within themselves.
They're gonna have to have a top dog. A top dog. Somebody who is really on their P's and Q's, and someone who really can measure up. Because I'm not gonna say most men, but a lot of men, like, they don't hold themselves to a higher standard, I would say. And they're gonna have to have someone who's actually, you know, that actually is view themselves as so high that they can actually see themselves next to a woman that's gonna be of their stature, like, because they're gonna be very prestigious.
I know.
That's gonna be dope. That's exciting to see. And me too. I appreciate that too, because I see that with Lola's daughters too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They're raised, they have good parents. Their dad showed them love. They get love from both their parents. And they are, I mean, you can just talk, they're beautiful girls, and you can just, they exude elegance, and, you know, just a certain, you know, they carry themselves a different way. And I love it. And that's what we need to do to all our kids, you know? Love them so much that they don't need anybody else. Everything else is asked to them, because they're whole and complete.
Right. And then, so my daughters get to see that up close. Like, so I love that so much, that my daughters have multiple examples to see outside of their mother, you know what I mean? That they can see, like, oh man, like, they can be inspired by all five of them. Like, literally, that's gonna be dope to see. And I'm thankful that you put in the work, because your work, or y'all's, you know, because say two parents, y'all work is gonna help me out. And that crazy?
And you were good. Listen, you are good anyway. You and your fiance are amazing. So you guys are a good role model, and you show your fiance love in front of them, so they know, you know, what love is and how love is supposed to be and how it's supposed to be normal. They get that at home. So, and you love them. I mean, that's, for a woman, for a girl, their dad is that first man that shows them how a man's supposed to treat them. So if your daddy wasn't crappy, he wasn't there, you'll accept a little bit more. But every woman I know who had a good father, you can't step to them with nothing but the best.
That's how my fiance was too. Like, and, even as like when we was in high school, it was kind of like intimidating a little bit. Not intimidating, but it was like I wasn't ready for it all the way. Even though we stayed together, you know what I mean, throughout the whole time, it was because she put me to her dad's center. That was a very older, mature man. I'm like, I'm not your dad. She was like, I'm not your dad. She was like, But she would literally hold me to that standard, so just proving your point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's dope. That's dope. I'm happy for you. And I'm proud of you.
Yes.
So what? Okay, so just I want to end it off with you giving the people like just a word of encouragement, word of advice to like the mothers or anybody that's struggling out there, anybody that just started nursing. You know, because there's a lot of single mothers out there. Just to, you know, to give them some good words of advice.
Well, one of my words to live by, like I said before, is if you do the same thing always, you're going to get the same result. So if you're unhappy with something in your life, you got to figure out what can I do to change it. What can I do to change me? Because we can't change anybody else. We can only change us. What can I do to change my environment? What can I do to change my mindset? If you can't change your environment, you know, little things. It doesn't have to be big things, you know. Clean up, you know.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, and clean, you can be poor and be clean. You know, straighten up, that helps your peace of mind, anxiety, you know, and it doesn't have to be spick and span, just orderly. Little things, you know, or taking a walk. It may not, you don't have to, you know, work out with you know, and be as strong and as healthy, but just little things equal big changes, you know, and we have to do little things for ourselves, because if we're not happy with what is going on, we got to figure out how to change it, because we're the only ones that can. That's one thing. With education, I always tell people, time will pass. You might as well pass. And with anything, you might as well pass that time being productive. Because a year's going to go by. So you want a year to go by and you're in that same exact spot you were, that you weren't happy in, or you want that year to go by, you can say, well, and it may not be much, but I lost 5 pounds. And it was a year, that's okay, but you did it. You're in a better spot than what you were.
That's a fair mindset.
Going into it. So you know, we have to give ourselves grace. But, you know, changes, little changes, just kind of do things to make you feel better. Work on mental health, whether it's counseling. Health insurance covers counseling. Medicaid covers counseling. Medicare, all that covers counseling. We need to work on this. And as Black people, we don't work on our mental and spiritual well-being enough. And mindfulness, you know, incorporate that into your daily life. Even if it's taking 5 minutes just to breathe, 5 minutes just to look outside, look at the leaves, look at little things, you know. Look at your children, just 5 minutes, clear your mind. Look at something that'll give you peace, because the life is so hard. It can be hard, it can be easy. And it's up to us to decide how we're gonna make our lives. And there are things in place to make it better if we so choose to, you know, make it better. So those are really my advice, is just change, do what you can. If you're unhappy with something, try to fix it in any way you can, big or small.
See, that was dope. You ended it so powerful and so dope. I hope y'all are actually able to digest. If you have to, like I said before, rewind and go to the LP notes that I put on the screen. Go to them and take notes, because she put a lot of game in. Alright, a lot of game. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. Glad we got to be in. Y'all, go be limitless, okay? I started this podcast because I wanted to help people get rid of the limiting beliefs so they can start shining like you are designed to, okay? So, go be limitless, and if you want to be a nurse, go ahead and be a nurse. I don't know if you'll be in the Hall of Fame though, but you know, it's worth a shot.